One of the biggest benefits of credit cards is the ability to access airport lounges without flying first or business. Food at the airport can easily be 10 to 15% above street price, and a lot of lounges do have buffet spreads that can be pretty decent that include veggies and proteins. If you drink, most lounges do have open bars where you can order a ton of different items. Getting the same drink at airport restaurants or bars might run you $10+ for a beer or $15 to $25 for a cocktail. Even for something like coffee, it would otherwise be $5, and you're not paying that in the lounge. Today we're going to look at 7 of the best business cards that offer airport lounge access as a perk. Big favor, give this a thumbs up to help with the algorithm. If you know anyone else that might benefit, then share this with them. One of the obvious questions is why? And to be fair, there are a ton of personal cards with great lounge perks. For a lot of people though, the benefit of a business card is to separate out your finances, especially if you are traveling a lot for the business. Also helpful is the fact that you can write off the annual fees for business cards if you're spending for business purposes. If possible, don't do any personal spend on business cards, otherwise you'd want to prorate the fee. With that said, let's go through some of the options and we'll start at the most straightforward and move into the more complicated. Also might be a bit fast on some of them because otherwise each card would be probably 10 minutes. First up is the US Bank Korean Air SkyPass Business Card. This one's pretty simple. You're going to get 2 Korean Air coupons each year. For that though, you are paying $99 per year for the card, so about $50 per visit. There are other features of the card, but maybe not too much to write home about outside of the 5% Korean Air coupon. And even then, I would be a bit careful about that one because certain fare types are not eligible for the discounted offer. For example, the discount might not work on the cheapest rate, so you might be paying the full fare, which is pretty expensive. Next up is the Chase United Business. Pretty similar idea as number 1, but for United. So here you get 2 United Club one-time passes per year for having the card. Reminder that United Clubs and Polaris Lounges are different. Polaris Lounges are probably what you think of when you think of airport lounges and that more VIP experience. United Clubs are a lot more down to earth. As of filming, the card has a $0 intro annual fee for the first year and then $99 for every subsequent year. You do have a lot of credits and other options, so depending on your setup, it might be cheaper than you think. For example, if you have this card and a personal United card, then you get 5,000 bonus miles each card anniversary. You also can get a $100 United travel credit, but it does require 7 flights of $100 or more. I'd probably go for this one over number 1. Number 3 is the US Bank Altitude Connect. This is the first one on the list with Priority Pass. Priority Pass is a giant network of over 1,500 lounges worldwide. There are some great options and some big misses. In general, I would say US ones are more mediocre and Asian and European ones tend to be a lot more competitive. The card has a $0 intro annual fee, and after that, it's $95. You do have a rideshare or taxi credit that can be helpful, but for a lot of people, the Priority Pass membership is the core benefit. For this card, you get 4 free visits a year. I would very much pick your shots and only go to the good ones, so check Yelp or something beforehand. You don't really want to waste it. Number 4 is the Capital One Venture X Business. It's a great option if you're someone that travels a lot and you want value. There is a $395 annual fee, but also pretty easy to justify. First up, you have a $300 annual travel credit for bookings through Capital One Travel. In addition, you get 10,000 bonus miles every year starting on your first anniversary. Minimum value is $100 towards travel, so you pretty much are breaking even with the card. Also a ton of lounge benefits. You get complimentary access to Capital One and Plaza Premium lounges for you and also 2 guests per visit. For Priority Pass, it's you, and they don't technically have a limit on the number of guests. Lounges can set their own rules, and if you try to invite too many people, probably an issue, but technically per the terms, unlimited, and some people have had 5, 6, even 10 people without issue. My guess is that if you're under 10 people, it's probably fine, but if you try to invite 100, then that's going to be problematic. In addition, you can add up to 4 authorized users. They get their own Priority Pass cards and also their own lounge access. Obviously, don't do it if you don't trust them, but otherwise, this is one of the more overpowered cards out there. On that note, if you want to learn more about any of these cards and you want to support the channel, we do have links on the website, asksebby.com/business, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that the cards make sense for you, but otherwise, it is a huge way to support the channel, so thank you guys in advance. Number 5 is the Chase United Club Business, and this is pretty much the bigger brother of number 2. It feels a bit more expensive. The main draw of the card is that it comes with a complimentary United Club membership. Unlike the prior one where you only had 2 visits, here it is unlimited. Also good if you have a player 2 and 3, but we'll get into that in a second. The card does have a $450 annual fee, which is up there. Most people are pretty much paying that $450 for the card and getting that membership in return, and the idea is that you're getting it at a cheaper price. Normally, you're looking at between $550 and $600 if you have 1K or Platinum status, and $650 for everyone else. In effect, you're paying $450 as an annual fee for something that other people pay $650 for. Most people are going to pick the cheaper number. The other factor is that you cannot write off the lounge membership if you were to buy it separately. With the credit card though, you are writing off the credit card by itself, and the membership is just complimentary as part of the card. With the card, you can either bring in one adult and one dependent adult under 21, or up to 2 guests with you to the lounges. Pretty much you and your player 2 and player 3, or I guess 2 random people if you want. This guesting isn't the case for some of the other cards later in the video. One other bonus is that if you do have an eligible membership like a United Club, you do get access to Star Alliance member lounges when you're flying Star Alliance. And these are the business class lounges, which are pretty solid. Remember to bring the lounge card with the Star Alliance logo on it and you should be fine. Note that it's not applicable for certain Singapore, Air Canada, and United lounges. Overall, this can be pretty solid if you travel abroad. The reason that it feels expensive is that you don't really have anything to help you offset that fee. You do have other perks like first and second checked bag for free and premier access travel services, but they just feel less tangible. It very much is $450 and with no coupon book, which might be good or bad depending on you. Number 6 is the American Express Delta Reserve Business. I feel like we have talked ad nauseum about the card and the credits, so maybe check out other videos if you want a deeper dive. Super fast, you get up to 240 in Resi, up to 120 rideshare, and up to 250 for Delta stays. On the other side of that though, the card does have a $650 annual fee. There are some other great quantifiable perks, like the annual companion certificate for each card member renewal. For lounges, you pretty much have 2 options. If you're flying Delta, you have complimentary access to Centurion and Escape lounges, and we will talk more about Centurion lounges with the next card, but pretty solid. The second option is Delta Sky Club access. You do get 4 one-time guest passes each year, but for yourself, you have 15 visits, and visits are interestingly defined as a 24-hour period. The easiest way to think of it is imagine if they gave you 15 tokens, poker chips that you could redeem for a visit. Each time you use one of these, you're pretty much activating a 24-hour period where you can enter and exit any Delta Sky Club, and it's within that one token. So whether you use it once, 2, 3, 5 times, however much you want, depending on your trip, it still works as one. That means that you still have 14 to go for the future. Basically, it makes a ton of sense, but only if you're a Delta loyalist. But to be fair, I guess that's not too different from the other airline cards, where you kind of have to fly their airline. The last one, number 7, is the American Express Business Platinum. There is a lot going on here for lounges, and I'm only going to focus on the key ones, but I might do a separate video doing all the nooks and crannies. For the purpose of the video, number 1 is access to Delta Sky Clubs when you're flying Delta. Pretty much the same token system and idea of a visit, but here it's only 10 instead of 15. But still, it's 10 days of flying, which is pretty solid. For Centurion lounges, it's any airline, you can fly anything you want, and it's unlimited. At this point in the US, you have a lot of options, and some highlights of the ones I like are Dallas, Denver, Houston, Vegas, JFK, New York, and also San Francisco. Also a ton I haven't been to yet, like Atlanta, which I've heard good things about. In addition, there is a decent international footprint, but it is more focused on specific major cities and financial hubs. Crowding was more of an issue back in the day, but I feel like in the last 2 years, it's been pretty reasonable. I guess it depends on when you fly, but for me, it's been pretty fine. On top of that, you do get a Party Pass membership, and you get access for yourself and up to 2 guests for lounges. Reminder that you do need to log into your account, and there is a section where you have to activate it, but pretty straightforward. Beyond that, they do have partnerships with brands like Lufthansa, but that's a bit more in the weeds. The card has a $6.95 annual fee, but also a ton of credits, and some of them might be useful. I'll talk about the ones that I get value from, but it depends on you. So for me, up to 400 Dell is pretty easy. Up to 120 wireless is a bit annoying, but also pretty fine. Up to 200 airline fee credit is pretty easy, and a bank shot if you know what you're doing. And clear is fine, but depends on you and if you have it from another card. Overall, a pretty big range of options, depending on what you're looking for. Again, if you want to learn about cards, we have links on the website, asksebby.com/business, and also down below in the description box. If you made it to this point, leave a wine glass emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. Number 1, how often do you travel? Number 2, what's your main focus for airport lounges? And number 3, if you had to pick one of these, which one would you pick? Also, if you do run a personal card, which one are you currently running? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favorite, thumbs up, consider subscribing, share this with a friend, but otherwise, hope you liked it. See you next time.